The village of Vu rested at the edge of a wide golden plain, where the wind carried songs of freedom and whispers of storms alike. Amongst its people lived a young woman named Amara. Amara was quiet in nature, not because she lacked a voice, but because she knew the weight of words. Her mother used to say, "A word can build or break, much like fire. Use yours to build." Yet most of her life, Amara struggled with one fire that she could not tame, the voice within her own mind. Every time she tried something new, the shadows would rise, the voices would speak. "You're not good enough. You will embarrass yourself. They will laugh at you." When she walked through the village, she noticed the way people spoke boldly, laughed freely, moved as though they had no fear. She envied them. She wondered how it felt to walk through the world with certainty instead of doubt. Her father was wise and steady. Once caught her staring at her reflection in the water, off by the river. "You frown at yourself as though the reflection is the enemy," he said. "Perhaps it is," Amara muttered. Her father placed a hand on her shoulder. "My child, remember this. When there is no enemy within, the enemies outside cannot hurt you. The world will always have people who mock, who despise, who envy, but they can only break what you have already believed to be broken." Amara kept his words, but they felt like stones, heavy and not yet understood. One season, the village prepared for the Festival of Voices. Every family sent forth someone to share a song, a poem, or a story. It was more than celebration. It was a measure of courage, for the whole village gathered to watch. Amara's friends urged her to take part. "You have stories, Amara. The way you speak when it's only us, you make us see pictures in the air. Share them." But Amara shook her head. "I would be laughed at." "You fear their laughter more than you desire your own freedom?" Her chest tightened. They were right. And yet, the voices hissed louder. "You cannot do it. Everyone there will be better than you." And still, her friends persisted. They rehearsed with her beneath the shade of the great baobab tree. They clapped for her, encouraged her, and corrected her gently when she faltered. Day after day, her words grew steadier. She felt the strength of their support. But questions still haunted her. When I stand alone before the crowd, will I still believe in myself as I do now? The night of the festival had arrived. Fires blazed, drums rolled, and the air, it thrummed with anticipation. One by one, villagers performed. Songs that lifted hearts, dances that stirred joy, poems that made even the elders nod in deep thought. When Amara's name was called, her legs nearly betrayed her. She stood, trembling. The shadows swarmed in her mind, and the voices hissed louder. "You will fail. You will mock." The voices hissed louder. "You will fail. They will mock you. Sit down before you humiliate yourself." She looked back. Her friends smiled fiercely, as if daring her to step forward. Their eyes shone steadily, reminding her of the river that never rushed but always reached the ocean. Amara walked forward, took a deep breath. Her voice cracked as she began, but she pressed on. Slowly, her story unfolded. A tale of a bird with a broken wing who taught itself how to fly again. Not because the world believed it could, but because it refused to believe the world's doubt. At first, whispers rippled through the crowd, but as she spoke, silence fell. Her words painted images of resilience, of courage, of self-belief. that grows like roots in the earth. By the time she finished, there was no laughter, only stillness. And then, thunderous applause. Amara stood frozen. For the first time, she realized the voices within had lost their grip. But not everyone rejoiced. Some sneered. In jealousy. She's not that special, one muttered. Her stories are simple, another scoffed. Amara heard them, but their words no longer pierced her. She thought of her father's wisdom. When there is no enemy within, the enemies outside cannot hurt you. She smiled quietly to herself. In the weeks that followed, Amara's confidence blossomed. She shared more stories, taught younger children to weave words, and encouraged those who felt small to rise. But the more she stood tall, the more others tried to tear her down. Some mocked her clothing, her voice, her very presence. Some accused her of arrogance. But her support system, her friends and family, they remained by her side. Don't let them define you, they would say fiercely. You are not their mirror, they reminded her. Still, there were nights when doubt crept back in. The world's cruelty was sharp. And yet, now, she fought with stronger weapons. She held self-esteem. She trusted in her own abilities. And the shield of those who loved her covered her completely. Years later, Amara had become known, not just in her village, but in the surrounding area. She was invited to tell stories at gatherings, to inspire children, to speak to those who felt voiceless. At one gathering, a young girl asked her, "How do you stand strong when people laugh at you?" Amara knelt and took the girl's hands. I learned that the loudest enemy I have ever faced lived here, as she touched her head. When I silenced that voice of doubt, no laughter could break me, no insult could shake me. The world will always try to cut down those who stand tall. But if you know your worth, if you trust your voice, if you walk with people who remind you of who you are, you will never be broken. The young girl's eyes shone, and Amara knew that she had planted a seed. Amara often sat by the river, where she once despised her own reflection. Now she looked into the water with peace. The face staring back at her was not perfect, but it was hers, and that was enough. She whispered to the wind, repeating her father's words she now lived by. When there's no enemy within, the enemies outside cannot hurt you. And the river carried her voice away, a song of freedom for those who needed to hear it. And this is what the baobab echoed about Amara. What will it echo about you?